Divine greetings and gratitude. Welcome to the Saiyonan Archives. If you are new here, my name is Nuna. I am the seer, the writer, the poet, the witch, the sage, the wise woman, the keeper of the archives. Welcome to your new spiritual safe haven. If you're returning, hey family, welcome back to our sacred space. I'm always honored, excited, and elated to be in your presence. I wanted to start this video off with a quick update because there's a lot of things that we have that are going to be changing. And I know that I'm getting right into this, but the reason is because I have to go ahead and finish up with some of the things that we've got going on. As you can tell, recently we have been in we're in a new space. We are in our living room where we are communing, where we will be doing a lot more of our videos here in this space because, as stated, there are a lot of things that are changing. Now, one thing that I do want to state to you is that I want to thank you so much for coming here and spending time with me. Thank you for choosing to come to me. Thank you for choosing to subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for giving me a chance. I want to say that because even though it appears that I am just now starting out, I'm actually not starting out for the first time. And even though it appears to be that way, that right there in itself lets me know that you were willing to give me a chance despite me not having very many people who are subscribed to this channel. And that just says so much to me. And it makes me want to pour into you even more, knowing that you gave me that chance, that there was something within me that you saw that made you want to stay and give me a chance to be in your space. And for that, I am grateful, and I will be eternally grateful. Even if you decided to only stay for a few weeks, a few months, a few years, who knows? The fact that you decided to come here and be with me, you guys, I just don't even know how to thank you. Like, I don't know how to thank you. Like, I don't. Except for showing up consistently, making sure that I do what I got to do to get these messages out and things like that. Now, in that spirit, I want to let you know that this is not my first rodeo. I've been doing this work behind the scenes for well over 10 years now, and I was not always consistent with showing up on YouTube, but I do have knowledge that extends beyond YouTube. And now Spirit has been guiding me. My ancestors and Spirit have been guiding me to share my space and to share more of my wisdom that I've learned and picked up behind the scenes and share it with you and bring it onto the channel. And it's taken me a long time because, not because I didn't necessarily believe in myself, but because I had a lot of things that I was going through, which I'm gonna be sharing a lot more of that in another video. Moving forward, the changes that are gonna be made, I'm gonna be bringing a lot more of my writing and poetry here on the YouTube channel. I'm also gonna be doing a lot more filming in my living room space, and we're gonna have like a lot more intimate moments. I've been avoiding having these intimate moments because I don't like how I look on camera, because sometimes I feel like I look too big for myself. Like, this is nothing against anyone else, and no, I'm not fat shaming, please understand that. But I've had a case of really bad like body like dysmorphia, I guess, and like I see myself at times, where I used to at least a lot, and it was really bad back in the day. I've gotten through that, through the majority of that, and I will be honest, I've gotten through majority of it. However, it's something that I still find myself kind of tripping over, and it kind of scares me, not knowing how I'm going to be perceived in a way, but I'm learning how to deprogram myself, working my magic behind the scenes and making sure that I get through that last breakthrough. You know how when you can feel yourself like running and you're running almost, and you can feel yourself like almost at that finish line, and it's just like that last little stretch that you got to get through. That's what this feels like for me right now, and I feel that I'm on the brink of it, but I know that it's going to take an immense amount of vulnerability to share this, and I'm going to be doing that in another video. So the reason why Spirit is saying that is because Spirit is wanting me to, and my ancestors are wanting me to use myself as an example, and they said so at the very beginning of this reading, not to talk about myself, but to put myself out there to make more of a connection with you. And that's essentially what I want to bring to you now. That's essentially what I want to do. Speaking of which, I wanted to let you know that the first card that we ended up getting before I had to refilm was Scopal, and I'm actually going to be talking about that a little bit more. So anyway, yes, that's what's going to change. We're going to have a different space that we're going to be recording in for sometimes we'll be in the office, other times we'll be here in the living room, and I'm going to be sharing a lot more of these messages with you, because I feel like it's time to do that. Like, I feel like my time is finally now, and at this point I can't I can't go back, because the more that I not show up in certain ways, the more that I do a disservice to you. So that's what's going to change. Also, I'm going to be talking to you guys a lot more about the Etherium, because this is also a part of my magic. Like the Etherium, merging the arts of poetry and magic, ritual, all of those things are a value part of my experience, and I'm going to be sharing that with you. So that's what's going to be changing. And also, by the way, I've been doing things a lot behind the scenes, which is the reason why I haven't truly showed up fully on camera. That's why I've been doing so many readings behind the scenes, because my focus and attention has been on how can I create more of a sanctuary and a space that where I can not only be comfortable, but that I can show up to you for you more. And that's just kind of where I'm at right now. So yes, absolutely. That's what we're going to be doing soon. We've got a beautiful space here. It's nice and open. We've moved some things around. I have been nitpicking at things recently, and I've been wanting to make sure that we got a really nice space. So that's coming soon. Thank you for being patient. So yes, we are going to be working with our ancestors' veneration candle, as well as our ancestors' honor and veneration oil. That's what we've got here on the coffee table, and there's the candle there that's working its magic as we speak. So we're also going to be working with the Jade Oracle here that I resonate with so much. Of course. And then we're going to be working with the Herb Crafter's Tarot, as well as the Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards as well. And I'm going to make sure to have these linked down below. So yes, these are going to be messages coming directly from the ancestors, and of course, you know, your spiritual team or whoever else. Okay. Thank you so much for tuning into this. I know that this was a very long intro. Let me go ahead and dive into the video now. And also, prayers have already been said prior. The fact that Gopal showed up first, usually Gopal is something that we would burn when we are communing with ancestors, or when we're making offerings to certain deities or our ancestors. Now, one of the things that I want to mention to you is that this is where I'm going to insert myself and pull myself back out. Inserting myself at the very beginning of my journey, I did not work with deities. I did not. I just was not really drawn to them. I was drawn to my own intuition, to my own inner wisdom, to wisdom directly from source, and also my ancestors. I did not work with deities for a good while. I did not. The only deity that came to me at the very beginning of my journey was Kali. That was the only deity or energy that made itself known to me. Other than that, I'm going to be real with you. I did not work with deities like that. I did not. But now that I've done a lot more extensive research on my ancestors, now I'm starting to get into working with certain deities, because they've been coming to me a lot more recently, which I'm like, okay, great. Now, why did I insert myself and say that? The reason why is because you are probably in a space in your life right now where you are being called to work and make offerings to your ancestors, because they're wanting to do some type of either working with you, or they're wanting you to get more. It's like the rite of passage, or like some type of rite, or like some type of rite of passage or initiation that they've got you going through right now. What this initiation looks like, it looks like some of you turning your head away from certain groups, dropping things, dropping people, deciding that you no longer want this. You may have experienced, I just heard something about like a brain injury. I'm hoping that that's not you, but some type of like brain injury, or like aneurysm, or something dealing with like the brain, and like something dealing with the nerves. It could have been something that was very like shocking, where you may have gotten into like a really bad accident. Something really traumatic ended up happening to you, and now you're in a space in your life where you are going through some type of initiation. And sometimes our traumas, or the traumas that we experience, are the triggers that awaken us, and they trigger these awakenings, and they trigger us to head into these initiations. Because some of the people on this earth, your ancestors, for example, are ones who have seen so much trauma, and you know, they've endured colonization. More than likely, for some of you, they've experienced that colonization. They may have experienced, for some of you, your ancestors, they may have experienced slavery. And I know that I'm probably gonna, you know, turn some heads with this one, but I'm not even talking about just the melanated people. I'm hearing Irish, like some of your family may come from Ireland. Some of your family I'm getting chills as I say that. Some of your family may come from the UK. Some of your family may come from Australia. Like, who knows? Like, I don't know where you are. Like some of you, I just heard like Sudan. Like your ancestors may have come from like different parts of the world, and here you are here right now. And now they're just like, okay, I really want you to start communing. I'm calling you to the altar. We want you at the altar. There's wisdom that we want to give to you. Come to the altar, make this offering, give us this so that we can show you the way, so that we can show you how to do this. They're wanting you to make an offering. They're wanting you to make an offering using specifically resins. They're wanting you to make an offering using specifically things that are from the earth. They're asking you, please, if you can, avoid buying anything. They're asking for you not to buy it. Go out in nature, go to a forest, go to a river, go to a lake, bring rocks back. You can go and bring back shells. Like I'm seeing shells for some people. For some of you, they may be cowrie shells. For others of you, they may be seashells. There's some type of shells that they're asking for. You don't have to go and spend anything. Why? When you have the whole earth available to you right now. Think about the way that resins are harvested. They come from, right, like the copales, it comes from a tree, right? It comes from a tree. It's like the sap, and then when it's dried, it turns into a resin. That's essentially what they're saying. You can use the earth as long as you give the earth an offering, your love and whatnot, as this like give an exchange. And what they're saying is to take from that respectfully and use that as the offering. I'm going to be real with you. They are not wanting you to spend no more than, if you have to spend, they're saying no more than $20 right now. And you could be the richest person listening to this right now. You can have $1 million in your bank account. They do not care. They are like, no, we want you to spend as little as possible, because they're wanting you to do something that does not require you to go out and source things from, because they're trying to avoid the colonized or they're trying to avoid capitalism here. Like they're wanting you to avoid it as much as possible. There's something about like capitalism and how they don't want you to fall into that, thinking that you have to go get all these extremely extravagant things before you just start to commune with them. Because to truly be honest, what they're saying is that we don't even really need you to do that. You can cook a meal with food that you have at home, and you can honor us by talking to us out loud, by eating the food, right? By sharing our memories with your loved ones, with your family, with your friends. There's so many different ways to honor us. But not only that, when you decide to, I just heard corn. If you wanted to, you can also even use corn. There's something about corn, of course. And of course it would come through like that because of the deck that I'm using. So this may, miss people. They may say, well, of course, Nuna, because look at the deck you're using, duh. But for some people, no, it's truly corn. Like there's so much that corn is not just used in American dishes. Like there's so many different types of dishes that corn is used in. Anyways, so basically, and also look at the symbolism of corn. It's grown very beautifully in this, obviously in the sun, and with that yellow light reflecting. And this, what I'm hearing is like you want to go back to like, oh, I just heard like the original corn. Like that's so interesting. It's kind of hard to get your hands on things like that, but they're saying try to get as close to the root or as close to the original as possible. And if you can't, it's okay. They're saying something about that, but also they're saying that they're wanting you to make an offering. Once you have mastered getting through using what you have, then you can go in and start to get other things, because you then start to understand the power of gratitude and appreciate loving what you do have available to you now, because it helps you to really see the earth as not just a resource, but as a living being that when you give to her, she gives to you. That's the way that they're wanting you to do it. They're wanting you to return to the old ways, not in slaughter. They're saying not in slaughter, but return to the old ways in a way that we truly would have, in like the old ways, meaning not making harsh sacrifices in this way, but going back to the old ways, meaning communing with nature. That's what they're saying with Copal. Also, when you start to honor your ancestors more and listen to them and commune with them, they help you with these rites and passages. They'll come to you in your dreams. They'll give you these signs and signals. People may come to you. You may start seeing certain animals in your life, in your reality. But either way it goes, you'll start to really see these things. And what will happen is you'll start to put these things together. And when you start to put them together using your intuition and then use logic to supplement, right, or to give it form, that's when they say you'll be able to get into other things as well. So if you've been working with deities, you deserve discernment. This may not apply to everybody, but they're saying that they are wanting you to work directly with your ancestors and then work with the deities. And that's why they have me insert and get myself out of that. I'm gonna go ahead and pull another card here for a second. Okay, this card is coming out. Wow. I think this is pronounced Shiukoto. Shiukoto, I believe. The turquoise serpent. I think it's Serpiente de Turquesa, I believe it's pronounced when you read it in Spanish. Now, serpents usually, so the turquoise serpent is, whenever you're dealing with serpent energy, you're dealing with knowledge, you're dealing with wisdom. But let me go ahead and, before I even get into that, hang on 1 second. Okay, the Shiukoto is the celestial snake that represents the lightning bolt, bringing light, power, and rain to the land. This symbol is associated with many deities. It forms the arms of Coatlicue, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Coatlicue, I believe, and it's held by Lalok, I'm sorry that I'm pronouncing this wrong, Huitzilopochtli used the Shiukoto as a scepter. When he threw it down in battle, it became alive. The turquoise serpent is the Nahuali of Huehuetiotl, the deity of fire, and he is shown creating the first fire in a pyrite mirror on the back of Shiukoto. It also guided Tonatia, the sun, across the sky. The Shiukoto represents the divine celestial energies mirroring the divine earthly energies of Kipakli, I believe, a reptilian deity whose body forms the world. In all aspects, the Shiukoto is associated, or if it's not Shiukoto, it's Chiukoto. Thank you for understanding and bearing with me and being patient. With light and fire, power and strength. It illuminates your path, bringing clarity to your vision. When you choose Shiukoto, you are being asked to allow its power and wisdom to transform you. Use its powers wisely to transform yourself and your circumstances. So this is so interesting because it talked about the first fire, and I remember earlier seeing some type of bowl. And it's interesting because in this bowl, it was like the very first either cauldron or like the very first, no, not the very first cauldron, excuse me, the very first like chimney type of energy where you would use it, and then it would kind of start off like as like a bowl. It was something round, and then from there it's like they formed it, and then when they did it using it from clay and whatnot, they extended it to make some type of like hole so that it can, you know, the smoke can come out or whatnot. So what they're saying is that they're wanting you to go back to the first. I don't know why I'm hearing like the very first son. I don't know if they're talking about your firstborn son, or if they're talking about, they're saying the very first son. They don't want me to confuse it with this being like a firstborn child, although it very well could be. It could be something dealing with soul. It's like solar energy, but also like electricity. Like they're saying like the first fires of your ancestors. They're wanting you to work with fire. Like they're saying to work with fire, and that there's knowledge in fire. They're saying that you can see the cosmos and the stars dance in a bowl of fire, or some type of fire that they're saying that they're wanting you to work with. They're wanting you to work with the fire. I'm hearing like the word bonfire, and I'm hearing them say for you to scry into the smoke. Whenever the serpent shows up for someone, or whenever the serpent shows up, really, you know, doesn't matter who it is, the serpent usually represents some type of wisdom. It represents some type of healing. It represents some type of divine force that holds a lot of knowledge. The fact that this is coming through as the turquoise serpent, this is making me feel like it's masculine. But the reason why it's masculine is because it's wanting you to, it's going to be one of those things where when you follow your intuition, when you divine these things, you use the masculine to give it form and shape. They're also really truly wanting you to work with what you have right now. I cannot get over that. They're wanting you to work strictly with what you have. I heard to like avoid outsourcing. Tochtli is the rabbit. The rabbit is also here. And we're gonna pull one more. That's so funny. Okay, wait. Before I do that, let me just... Okay. And then the last card that we have here is La Gran Diosa, the great goddess. I don't even know if I really want to read from the book right now, but what I really do want to say is that even with this, it almost kind of makes me feel like there's something that when you decided that you were going to allow yourself to receive the wisdom that they want to give you by working with them, whether it be through smoke, whether it be through fire, whether it be through rites, they're saying that they're wanting you to draw wisdom from these things because they're wanting you to change your circumstances around by utilizing what you have right now. This is giving me magician vibes. It's giving me, you can work your magic. I want to say hoodoo for some people, but it's really giving me a vibe where they're really wanting you truly to stick with what you have immediately. That is immediately available to you, some type of resource, because that in itself, it's fertile. Like they're saying that the soil that you work with is fertile. Like your soil is fertile. It's a lot more fertile than you think. You may not think that it is, but there's something very fertile about what you have available to you immediately. Whenever the great goddess comes through, I'm seeing this great goddess here, La Grandiosa. I'm seeing it as giving some like blessing is being given. Like there's some type of blessing being given. I can't get over that. Let me see. And here it is. The great goddess of Teotihuacan. Teotihuacan is found in murals on the walls of that ancient city and what was probably housing for high status citizens. We like to imagine that these apartments housed priestesses who honored her in rituals. Teotihuacan means where the divine is made in Nahuatl. Inhabited from approximately 100 CE to 700 CE, its population peak has been estimated at 125,000. Sorry. The aim of Teotihuacan society seems to have been the creation of paradise on earth. Images of water and fertility abound. With her open-armed benevolence, the great goddess is certainly the center of that paradise. When the great goddess of Teotihuacan comes to you, she brings the ability to understand the past and present, indeed all of existence. She is associated with the underworld and darkness. Oh man, I love that. Which is the fertile ground for all growth. As befits a divinity associated with darkness, the jaguar, owl, and spider are her animals. I'm going to repeat that. As befits a divinity associated with darkness, the jaguar, owl, and spider are her animals. She is the harbinger of new beginnings, reminding you that every new beginning is nourished with the fertile soil of the past. That's so interesting that I heard. That's so interesting. I love when that happens. So this has a lot to do with something that happened before, whether it be your ancestors past, learning their history, learning their rites, learning their rituals, learning what they've been through, learning your lineage and learning what they've been through can somehow help you with your initiations, with what you have going on right now in your own life. And that's exactly what they're trying to tell you. They're wanting you to draw wisdom from that. And also what I'm hearing is to look in your birth chart. They gave you keys and clues to look into your birth chart, but what they're saying is this is going to be a little different. They're wanting you to maybe, if you feel like it, entertain a little bit of other types of astrology and other types of timekeeping. Just if you feel it resonates, then go with that. If you feel like it doesn't, I honor that. But that's exactly what they're saying. I feel it. Like it's that I cannot mistake that. Let me see. And you guys are going to hear my sons in the background. The rabbit is a prominent symbol in ancient Mexico in two very different ways. First, the rabbit is seen on the face of the moon. In one of the creation myths, the sun and moon were both equally bright, and one of the deities put a rabbit on the moon to dim its light so that the earth would have night. Second, the rabbit is linked with the intoxicating beverage pulque, also associated with mayahuel and the magui plant. If a person is intoxicated, the 400 rabbits take control and anything can happen. When the rabbit comes to you, it is a sign to take off your mask and be your authentic self. If something or someone is trying to dim your light, you need to do something to allow your true light to shine brightly. That's so interesting because this is the reason why they are they wanted me to insert myself and to take myself back out, because that was something that I struggled with a lot, because I just had this way of just being, vibrant. But I also had this way of being very dominating without trying. And I dimmed myself a lot back in the day. because I was afraid of just making people feel bad and things of that nature. But they're wanting you to work with them, but they're also wanting you to tell your true story without feeling like you have to dim it for anyone else. Like, they don't want you to think that you have to stop or not be yourself, because that was something I just heard the word shunned. Your ancestors were probably shunned when they shared their gifts a lot, and that in itself is a survival tactic, and they're not wanting you to fall into that kind of survival anymore. And so what they're doing instead is saying, we are wanting you and we're giving you permission if you need it, right? Like, you don't need our permission, but what they're saying is that if it makes you feel better, you have our permission to share these stories, but work with us first. Just work with us if you're not as confident. They're wanting you to work on your confidence, your ability to a fire here. Exactly. Shunned, right? The Six of Wands is showing up in reverse here. What this is bringing me to, you also have the Ten of Cups. You have the Ten of Cups. You also have the Five of Water here, which is the Five of Cups. Are there any other things you have here? So basically with these here now, it's like what they're wanting you to do is they're wanting you to learn from the past. Like, they're wanting you to learn from like their past mistakes. That's why thank you. So essentially what they're saying is that the more that you work with them, the more that you commune with them, the more they will give you their history, the more they will share with you things, so that way you can learn from their history. You can learn from their mistakes, so that when you do it this time, you get it right. And that's essentially what they're saying. They're wanting you to show up and really share that. And there is a wound somewhere around someone either not being able to show up because of what happened in their past, or something where they were made to feel like their visions were too great. What I'm hearing is that there is justice. Exactly. Justice is here. Cannabis. The thing is that there was something that your ancestors did, or that you may have done, where it was righteous, right? Where you communed with the earth, you use the earth as medicine and things like that, but it was twisted and it was polluted, and it was, there's another word that I'm looking for. But I can't find it. I don't know why. I just had it, but then it left. But it was something about like how it was twisted. It was perverted, right? Like, they perverted it and then twisted it and then made it seem as if they demonized it. But really what it was you working with them. You was working with medicine. Like, you worked with medicine. And I feel like because of that, there was something, they're telling a story here. They're saying that something was like lost, or they were saying that something wasn't done right. But now what they're saying is that I want you to be the one to continue the story, but I want you to do it right. There is a fear of you showing up perhaps and you not sharing certain things because you want to keep it protected. But at the same time, for some of you, this is a legitimate fear. Like, it's 100% a fear. I'm going to be going into another video about that later, because I feel like they're wanting me to share things with you, but they're not wanting me to share it in the reading. I have to put a pin in it, and I'm going to come back to it later. I'm going to come back to that later. I do feel here that the fact that you do have the Ten of Water here, the Ten of Cups, truly, they're not wanting anything for you except happiness for you, right? Like, they're not wanting anything except for happiness. And of course, you have Ten of Earth. I was just thinking about this card. This is deeply ancestral. You have Horsetail, the Ten of Earth, and then you also do have here the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands here, the Five of Fire. So the way that I read these cards is a little bit different, but I'm not just reading cards, I'm reading the energy, right? Like, I'm just going to read the energy, period. Like, what this feels like is that there was some type of loss, or there was something that was lost during the transition of something. Like, something was not fully, something was like either left behind or something was lost. What I'm hearing is that it was lost in translation. Something or someone didn't fully tell the story right, and now you're here to come to tell the story again. They're saying to go back to the first light. The first sun that they're talking about is the first light, is the first life. It's like the first sign of life. They're saying your first ancestors. Who were your first ancestors? That's a journey that you are going to embark on. That's something that you have to find out. I'm not, going to tell you, but for some of you, your first ancestors, well, actually, yeah, some of your first ancestors were fire people. What I'm hearing for you is that your ancestors worked with fire first. They work with fire, or obviously water, because we all work with water, but they're saying that the element that they choose will be fire for some reason. like they could be a part of like a fire clan or like a fire tribe or something where they work with fires, like fire and like hot things. They may eat things that were like very spicy. They may have like really spicy attitudes, or back in the day they didn't call them attitudes. I don't know what they called them, but that's just energy, right? Like they just had energy that was very heated. Like they're saying that you come from a very strong lineage of fire people. Like that's what they're saying, fire people. And that fire was also wisdom, and they used it and they wielded it very well because they knew that where there was warmth, there was life. And so they're saying that they want you to return to life. They're wanting you to like replant the fire. For others of you, take your pick. It may not have been fire. It may have been water. It may have been earth and air, right? They may be air people, Iroquois, right? Iroquois. You may have Algonquin ancestors. You may have ancestors over, in Africa or wherever else, right? Wherever your ancestry is, right? All of our ancestors work with the earth in some way. Some work a lot more with the air element. Some work a lot more with the earth element, or they may have a masters of some type or of some sort of element. They may have mastered a certain element. I keep wanting to say elephant. So some of you may have a very strong connection to elephants, which are associated with memory and motherhood and the matriarch. This to me feels a lot like very strong masculine energy though. I'm sensing a lot more masculine energy. Also, I just heard that my cousin was put in, not my cousin, but someone saying that my cousin was jailed because they had this on them, but they weren't using it in a recreational way, but they twisted it and then now they're doing time for that. I don't know why I'm hearing that. For someone, I just heard them say to write them a letter. Let them know that you think of them. Let you know that you love them. And I'm also hearing that for some of you, you may be receiving a letter from someone who was wrongfully jailed. They will be out soon. And also, I don't want to saying it because YouTube be out here doing shit, man. I'm hearing something about like a lawsuit. And you also have marigold. Ikha of fire, exactly. I see. It's interesting that we're talking like a lot about fire. There's so much warmth here, and even though I'm picking up on like there's obviously like lots of earth here, but there's also like lots of fire. They're really wanting you to work with either like a chimney or something dealing with like fire, but being outside, like not just like at a stove. Right, they're wanting you outside, doing something outside, but using fire. They want you can go camping if you will, like if it's, suitable for you to go camping. Yes, you want to work with calendula. Calendula is great for fire because it's ruled by the sun. Calendula is great. Marigolds are great. Also marigolds are very good for leading the deceased loved ones to you. They're good for offerings as well. The candle or the candle lights also light the way for your ancestors as well to come and find you in some ways. Sorry about that interruption. That's my partner's phone. Anyways, so this reading is going well into 40 minutes and I'm okay with that actually. So basically, yeah, I'm feeling truly here that there's definitely a good amount of fire. They're also saying something about fire scrying, where you're going to start telling the future via fire, or they're wanting you to start developing your gifts using fire, but they're wanting you to use it in a proper way. Where there was fire, there was great destruction, and they're wanting you to make it right. The fire destroyed. They're telling a story about how some type of village was destroyed through fire, or your ancestors, a part of their story, they may have been okay. Okay. I'm gonna say this, and I don't mean to offend anyone. Trigger warning. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Trigger warning. I'm hearing that for some of you, some of your ancestors were set on fire. Like they were set on fire, or they died by being burned alive. And it was such a tragic story. Yes, that is not a really good image to sit with, and I'm not going to share that image. But I see it, happening, and I don't want to get into that. Because I feel like I don't want to leave you with that, even though I feel like I already did. But that's just like the message that came through. Forgive me for sounding that way. I don't mean to. And I'm so sorry that this is coming through. Like, it's not anything that like I'm just purposely trying to do. If I could have avoided that, I would have avoided it, but I can't do that, because if I do, then I wouldn't be honest, and that's not okay. So I had to say that. So yeah, there's that. But I just feel so bad because, or there's something like about like a house fire. It's something that just kind of like doesn't make sense. What I'm hearing is that if you've ever been like, if you've ever experienced things that just keep burning and they just keep burning, you can't explain why. You may go around someone and they tell you, oh, you know, my fire, like my house got burned up in a fire, we had to move. Or if you were someone that lost a house to a fire, or things catch on fire around you a lot and you just don't know why, you can't really find like a rational explanation. Things just kind of get set ablaze, or you know, you have accidents with fire a lot. There's something within your lineage where things either happen by accident, or it's like an extreme way of getting you to pay attention to the things that happen in your family. And I know that it's one of those really extreme things, but that's just how energy works. Energy will express itself in any way that it knows how. And in any, whatever opportunity that, think of it this way: if there's a window open, energy will go through it. If there's a crack open, energy will go through it. It does not matter what it looks like. This universe is so vast that it's going to show itself. So if you find yourself around things that are always hot, spicy, or you know, around like a lot of fire, it's something about the fire element that is very prevalent in your ancestry. And that's what they're saying. And I just have to trust that this is for someone. And now we go back here. I do feel, and also my condolences and, you know, peace and love and harmony to your ancestors and to you. So the fact that you do, that's so funny. I feel like I believe this crystal ball, it looks like, to me, like there's like something in it as well. I don't know what kind of crystal that is. I will have to read the book, but I don't really want to get it out right now. Yes. So with this Iha of fire, this is where you start to really get yourself acquainted with it and start working with it. You're starting to get your hands-on experience. The fact that death is here, you're going through some type of transition. They're really truly wanting you to use wisdom, to journey back into the past, to learn from the past, to help you right now in the present. That is essentially what they're saying. They're wanting you to scry. It's going to also help you in the future, especially with the Two of Fire being here, the Two of Wands. This is something where they're saying, I really want you to start using information that we give you to help you out. And although things may not make sense, the more that you spend time with them, the more that things will become clear. The first thing here, be devoted and committed. Exactly, Sage. Be devoted and committed to your ritual. Be devoted and committed. Okay, here we go. You have here summer, bask, enjoy, and light. Exactly. See, it's like, it's something dealing with like, even with summer, like that's just a very joyous fire. It's fire, but in the most joyous way. Ooh, see, look at that. Look at how it's coming out. Sun, enjoy, success, and happiness. Look. You can't make it up. I'm trying to tell you. I'm surprised the Sun card isn't here. Well, the Sun card in tarot. Okay. I also want you to keep in mind that fire is very initiatory. Stargazer, set your sights higher. And I just heard that use fire to commune with the living. That's interesting. Spring, see your seeds grow. So this feels a little bit more favorable. So what this sounds like to me is that once you really do start becoming more devoted and things like that, and like really taking your spiritual path very seriously, this is where you'll start to see things change. Like things truly, really do change. I feel like you'll start to see just how favorable things will get. And I feel like this is one of those things where Spirit is saying, yes, I really want you and your ancestors. Yes, I really want you to work with us. Make those offerings. Also, Gopal is, if I'm not mistaken, ruled by the sun. So Gopal is something that you may want to use if your ancestors accept it. then you can go ahead and do so. Also, I do feel here that with the 5 of Wands here, there's really no need for any type of like competition. There's really no need for you to feel like a battle. I don't know why, but this is bringing me to battle. Your ancestors were warriors. Like, they were definitely warrior people, and they're very hot and very fiery. That's what I'm getting. And they're wanting you to return to work with them. And yeah, that's just what I feel. Thank you so much for listening and tuning into this message. I hope that it helped whoever it needed to help. If you do need anything from me, please feel free to visit me online over at thesayonanpath.org. You can also follow along with me on my social medias, on Substack, and everywhere else that I am available. I'll make sure to link everything down in the comment section, as well as in the description box if I am called to. And if there's nothing else, thank you so much for listening and tuning into this message. I love you, and I will catch you in my next video.